Okay, this is Christopher Parham again. You know me as Ice Cube 57, and I'm basically going to go over a few more things about the Ebike deal frame. Uh, so I kind of got the project back on track. Uh, I ordered another wheel, a 24-inch wheel. It was a crystallite wheel that's made for 135 millimeter dropouts. Um, the frame is made for 150 millimeter dropout, so there should be enough space to where you could shim the wheel left or right and get it to align perfect in the frame. So upon my assembly on starting to assemble the components of the frame, I went to screw in the bottom bracket, and I've screwed it in by hand because I know bottom brackets have fine threads. And so I was screwing it in. I wasn't hitting much resistance. Then I hit something pretty hard. I grabbed it a little bit firmer, turned it some more, and I was like, okay, maybe I just hung up. So I started to drive it in a little bit more, and all of a sudden it just got stuck. And so basically, I took my wrench and I tried to back off from the bottom bracket. And when I backed off from the bottom bracket, it was still stuck. I mean, it was like I was literally, like, my fingers were turning red that I was pulling on the wrench so hard to try to untighten it. I ended up destroying the bottom bracket, ripping all the teeth off of the bottom bracket, trying to get it out. I was holding a blowtorch on it to try to get the bottom bracket to expand to let go of the bottom bracket. And so after fighting with it for like an hour or so, I finally did get it out, and I'm looking at the threads of the bottom bracket, and I'm like, oh man, these are just fucked up. There's no way that I'm gonna be able to salvage this. And and so, just entertaining the theory, I took the other side, I took the cup side of the bottom bracket and screwed it in, and I was getting that same hesitation that I was getting on the other side, and luckily I was able to back off before there was any damage of it getting stuck. And so I was like, okay, why are both of these getting stuck like they are? And so I'm looking at the threads, and the threads have a lot of overspray. I guess there was an undercoat and an overcoat, and then also there was like some welding slag or like little bitty metal BBs that were kind of in there. So I went in there with a Dremel with a wire brush attachment and cleaned all of that out. And so when I cleaned it out and I went to screw it in, talk about it going in all the way smooth as silk without binding or anything. So that was kind of disappointing. I'm thinking that kind of contributed to it being seized up. Like I might have had some dirt or some overspray in the threads that caused it to seize up, because I don't think that it was cross-threaded, because it's like you see it go in and then it gets to a certain point where you can even look at the threads. When I backed it out, like there was something in one of the threads that caused it to, instead of it being fine threads, it was just like an opening, like something was in there, and it smashed the threads out to where they weren't uniform anymore. Um, so that was another thing. But I took it back to the shop, and the shop chased the threads, and they cleaned them up, and then they put in an old bottom bracket, and it screwed in fine, and they screwed it back out, and I was like, yes. So um, the frame is saved. I told them to order a bottom bracket, and I told them to install it. So hopefully here in the next week or so, they'll have the bottom bracket installed on the bike. But if you do order the frame, get a Dremel and clean those threads out, because there was a night and day difference between me just putting the cup in before cleaning and after cleaning. So I'm thinking, like I said, it's seized up on the other side, not because like I misthreaded. I mean, there's still a possibility that I did, but just by me screwing in the other side and encountering the same problems, I think the threads and stuff were dirty and like just dremeling everything out, because when I was dremeling everything out, all this dust and everything was just coming out. And Max told me, yeah, just lubricate the threads and it should go in. I'm like, even the bike shop was like, if you lubricate, I mean, there is supposed to be some form of lubrication on it, but that's to stop it from seizing up. But you should be able to screw in the bottom bracket without it binding, and that wasn't the case with me. It was binding when I was doing it hand tight. It was binding, and I have a bottom bracket tool. So, you know, with my hand pressure trying to screw it in manually, it was binding. So I'm going with my theory that there was trash and overspraying the threads that were causing an issue. Okay, also, I just went to a fabrication shop to get a tray made for my batteries. Like, I kind of did a dry fit of the batteries, and the batteries do, all the 12 of my batteries do fit in the frame, but I would like a box. And so I went to a fabrication shop to see if they can make it, see if it's not too small of a job. And so it seems like they were able to accept my order. And so all I got to do is come up with some final dimensions, take a bunch of pictures. I'm going to leave the frame up there with them. But basically I wanted a box to house all of those batteries that are behind me. And I want them standing straight up. And then I wanted it to be like a toolbox to where I can access the pack and service it, and then close it back up and slide it back in the frame. So even if I had to take my bike somewhere with the battery unloaded, that after like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, I could take the battery pack out of my trunk, slide it in the frame, put the bar on, and go and take it back out. I'll have like a little mini kind of crude blueprint of that. I'm going to post that on the thread shortly. So those 2 things that I got knocked out. And so like I said, hopefully with the motor with 135 dropout spacing, that I can move the motor left to right to get it in line with the center line of the frame. Max has shown me some pictures with enough shims. You should be able to get it pretty close to the center line of the frame. So that's no issue. That's not an issue anymore. So I'm just really looking forward to getting something put together. I also have a backup plan. I bought another giant frame. So I'm going to have 2 builds, possibly 3 going on. I'm going to have the e-bike deal frame. That's the one I'm trying to put together and put all the batteries in. I'm going to have a backup frame, which is a giant Revel 29er that I bought, and I'm planning to put the MXUS 3000 watt motor on it, and then switch, even though it's a 29er, as long as you have a 29er fork and a 29er frame, it doesn't hurt to put smaller wheels on it. So hopefully I can drop 26-inch wheels on that and still run that motor, and maybe that can be like an aggressive bike or an aggressive build, to where if I just want to beat on it real quick and have like a small battery pack on it, I can do that. But most of my eggs will be in the e-bike deal frame. I'm still trying to make this dream a reality. It's just I'm hitting a whole bunch of roadblocks on it. And then I have a friend that I've sold my old Tidal Force bike to, so hopefully I'm getting that back in the rotation, so I'll have 2 frames. One that I've known to accept e-bike motors quite easily. It's a really, really light frame. I love it. I have a fork, a high-end fork for it. It's a really, really nice frame. So I'm looking at getting that from my friend. So there's 3 bikes that I'll be working on. 2 of them will probably be not production, but probably be finished. I just need it, because I put all my eggs in one basket with this e-bike deal frame, and stuff has been I've been hitting a lot of roadblocks with this, so I just wanted to have 2 or 3 other bikes that I could work on, so that I'm not stuck with this one build. So the e-bike deal frame will have a 4060, a 40 series crystalline motor, a 4060. So that's their slow torque one. I plan to run it at 100 volts, and then I have the MXUS build that I'm going to run at 100 volts also. So one of them should be 40, 45 mile per hour capable. I mean, there should be both sitting at about 45 mile per hour capable at 100 volts, and you know, but the e-bike dual frame, I'm really trying to get that one going with 100 volts and 50 amp hour battery. And I'm even looking at trailer options and everything, because the bike is going to be heavy. It's going to be like carrying around a moped or a scooter. And yeah, why would you need to carry it? I mean, it's an e-bike. You can ride it anywhere. True enough, but most of my riding isn't close to my house, so I have to transport my bike. So a lot of the times I will have to transport it. So I would like to have like a removable battery pack. That's why I went to the fabricator to get a removable battery pack container and everything. But at this point I'm just rambling, but that's the update for now. Thanks for watching.